Hey everybody. So, one of the points I want to talk about today was what's the difference between being natural and having permed hair. My biggest thing about it is when you perm your hair, what you're doing is breaking it down. So, you're breaking down the curl pattern by breaking down the protein that's in the hair. So, essentially, your hair, although it might look sleek and long or straight, shiny because we add all this extra stuff to it, it's still not in its healthy, natural form because it has been denatured. I don't know how many people have seen bio or read anything about bio, but protein denaturing, you don't want to do that. It messes up everything. So that's the thing about perms. Pros and cons about perming my hair. What I was thinking about it when I was perming my hair was, one, I'm like, well, I used to perm my hair every 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah, seriously, every 4 to 6 weeks. And my hair was so thick it looked like it didn't even make a difference. Honestly, when I first started getting perms, I was probably about 12. So when I was around 12 years old, I probably took about 5 or 6 perms before I actually did anything to my hair other than just make it be soft and fluffy versus super shrunk when it was wet. But my hair, if you get the gist, is real. It's real. So I always used regular perms. My mom tried using a super in my hair before, but my scalp couldn't take it, and we never did that again, ever. It was horrible. It was horrible experience. I mean, most of my perm experiences were bad, but until I went to college and then someone else did it differently. I don't know if that says something about my mom doing perms or not, or maybe it was just my scalp. My scalp was tender at first. I don't know, whichever way you want to take it. But when I was perming my hair, I was thinking, well, as long as I take care of it, then it'll be fine. But the thing is, my scalp, for whatever reason, I would probably say right around when I was about to graduate high school or about to enter in college, I noticed that my scalp was just a little bit more thin than it used to be. My hair used to always be like, I would make a part in it and you couldn't even see the part because my hair was just so thick and there was so much hair there. But it was starting to be like, okay, well, now I can see the part, but it wasn't like a good see the part type thing. It was because like hair follicles were actually missing, so it was getting gappy. I mean, I would always write it off as, oh, well, maybe I just got a perm, so that's why it's just super straight now. I never thought that, it was actually hair loss in those areas, so I never thought to go and look into it. It probably was in college. I remember it was like my 21st birthday, and I went to Las Vegas with my best friends and one of our other friends, and it was so much fun. I love Vegas. It was so much fun. But on another note, I was trying to wear my hair. I had my hair done in a sew-in, and it was based around like a center part. I started doing sew-ins in college. I always made sure to take it out in time though, because I heard horror stories about people who get sew-ins and all their hair falls out. So I'm trying to figure out, well, I'm not going to leave my hair in long enough to have it fall out. So I was always good about taking care of my hair when I had sew-ins in. So we went to Vegas, and I remember I wanted to make a middle part, like right here in my head, just a nice little middle part so I could be, wavy, look smooth, all that good stuff. But when I made that part, I was just like, why is there this huge gap right here? Like this wasn't there before. Yeah, it was a little bit thin, but now it was probably about a centimeter long off the center of my part. And I was just like, okay, this wasn't there before. What's going on with this area? And then I was like, well, I don't know. But I just kind of, since I can't wear a center part, I'm just make a side part, and just kept on doing it, moving. Didn't get it looked into then. Should have seen, you have a gap of hair missing in the front of your head. But you'd be surprised at the excuses that you make so that you don't have to go and get treatment for something, or you don't have to hear some bad news about something. But yeah, big gap in front of my head. It ended up kind of growing back in. So I think that was another thing too that was like, oh, well, maybe it was just stress or something like that. But it never grew in fully, but it grew in enough that I didn't feel it was super important to go and look into it. It grew back enough for me to be like, okay, I'm content. I can still wear my hair to the side and cover it, so I'll be all right. So perming your hair has been one of the elicited causes of certain types of CCCA. Although formal studies on it haven't been thoroughly defined in their findings as far as exactly what the pathology of the disease is, meaning like what causes, this is the cause that makes this effect on this. There are so many things that us, especially as African American women, do to our hair. I can imagine why studies haven't exactly shown what it could be, because I mean, I don't know any person who has either never ever in life had a perm, or never ever in life had a hot comb, or a press, or a Brazilian blowout, or one of those things. Very few people have never done those things. And even some people who do, like say some people who have dreads and have always worn dreads since childhood, you know, that is also another thing that they look at as a potential cause. So tension. So if you look at all the things we do to our hair that cause tension, perms, one, when you're parting it, you're pulling it, you're breaking it down chemically. Flat irons, braids, dreads, all are tension because it's pulling on your hair. It's pulling your hair out of the scalp, or causing that tension between your hair and the scalp. Well, even cornrows can be tension. I remember one time I had cornrows done, and my scalp actually like bled. Like, it was serious. Like, I was just thinking, oh well, you know, it's tight, so that's good. You know, it's tight, so that's good. That means it'll last longer and it won't get old as fast. That's what I was thinking, yeah, until I woke up and my scalp was literally bleeding. Like, I had to sit there and wipe it down with alcohol and throw some antibiotic ointment on it so I didn't get an infection. It was bleeding, seriously. And I know I'm not the only person to experience that, because, I mean, if you are taught that tight braids are good, loose braids are bad, then I'm sure somebody else has had braids just a little bit too tight. I've actually witnessed some. Yeah, you know who you are, who braids super tight. But so as far as exactly what can cause this CCCA, I'm not exactly sure. My guess is it's a combining of factors, and also hereditary. Like, I actually just recently had a conversation with my mom and was telling her what the doctors found, and they said it might be hereditary, but you know, she was always said that she's had thin hair. All my life, I remember her always saying she's had thin, fine hair. That's just what she's always had. But, you know, after recent developments, I talked to her and she's like, oh yeah, I had some patches when I was about your age too, you know. So my hair started getting a little thin and I had some patches from then. I was like, seriously, you didn't tell me? She's like, what do you mean? It's not the big deal. Where we come from, you don't go to doctors for stuff like that. And that's another thing to think about, you know, culturally. Like, I mean, where we come from, if it's not like a life or death situation, people don't just go to the doctors for things that they can take care of themselves, or for things that aren't explicitly killing them, you know? So that's us from our country. But for other people, it might just be a cultural thing, and it might be a financial thing. If someone could go to the CVS and get some Tylenol PM or Tylenol flu and sinus and be able to nip those things in bucks, then they don't have to worry about paying insurance every month, or going to go see maybe even that same person who is treating people in the CVS, like the same physician, nurse assistant, nurse practitioner, who might be treating people, because without insurance, you're paying like a minimum of $100. So people may not do that. So as far as accurate records of who had what problems, I know that that's an issue for us, because that's not something that we really talk about. With us, healthcare system for a lot of my grandparents, my parents, my great-grandparents, uncles and aunts, is not something that is as thorough as what we could have available to us here in America, because I mean, for one, technology isn't the same in every country that you go to. It's not the same in every city that you go to. You might be in a a suburban area or urban or rural area where you may not have access to all the equipment and funding for the equipment that you might have if you're in a big city. So, little story short, yeah, trying to figure out what exactly caused alopecia could be tricky. I read or watched somewhere someone had been diagnosed with like autoimmune disorder that kind of initiated that alopecia loss. So I think that that's something that I would want to further investigate to the best of my knowledge, just so that I know exactly what I'm up against and the other cofactors that can be attributed to the alopecia. I am big on knowing what's going on with me now. That's not something that has always been the case. I'm very much I think it's just because of how I was raised. If it's not killing you, then keep on going about it and keep on going about your business and don't worry about it type of deal. But I think my approach on it, especially with this condition and learning about other conditions, is, early detection is your best chance of getting the best outcome. You don't want to catch something when it's at the stage where it's already, taking over and there's very little you can do about it. So that's one of the things that makes me want to go further and see exactly what's causing this. Because if I'm going to have kids and it's something that is hereditary, I'm going to want to be able to look out for those signs in my kids and be able to have them look out for those signs in themselves, especially with something like alopecia that they would know because they deal with their own hair every day. But yeah, that's just my rambling, my thoughts for the day. I think I'm about to go back to studying. Exciting, yay! And that's my life. Bye.